Hey, it's Jesse with Gas Brakes. If you want to get more 10s on your next submission, stick around and I will show you how to prep cards like a pro. Despite what I do in some of my videos, you really shouldn't grade every card. First card was a Jalen Brunson base and it got an SGC 10. There's two main reasons for grading cards. One, you want to increase its value, or two, you'd like to protect the card permanently in a slab. So step one for grading cards is evaluating, is this card worth grading? There's 4 criteria to take into consideration when grading a card. The first is the corners. Each corner should be sharp and not have any bends, dents, damage, or whitening. This is an example of a card that has some whitening on the corners. The whitening is when the surface of the card is damaged and it shows some of the cardboard beneath it. Your edges should be clean and crisp as well. As you can see on this card, there is a tiny bit of chipping when the card was cut, but it's probably not significant enough to affect the grade too much. Centering is one of the most important things when evaluating a card. On a card that has a very busy design like this one, it's really hard to tell the centering sometimes, but we can tell on this card it is slightly off-center this side to this side. I think it's a little bit heavy here on this side. It is equally important to check top and bottom as well. Cards out of Prism have a lot more pronounced border. On cards where the border is obvious, it's a lot easier to tell the centering. This card, I would say, is pretty well centered. The top to bottom is a little bit questionable. If you look at where this nameplate kind of bumps out, it also makes it difficult to judge. But in general, I would say the centering on this card is pretty good. The last criteria we're going to look at is the surface. You want to make sure the surface is free of scratches or scuffs and surface wear, things like that. Also, print lines are very common in modern cards. These types of scuffs and scratches can be hard to pick up on camera, but when you're looking at them with the naked eye or under magnification, they become pretty obvious. If you look at this card, there is some scuffs right in this area, as well as some scratches down on the bottom. This wouldn't be a card that I would traditionally grade, but this is more of an example. All right, now we're going to get into prepping the cards. Here's some of the supplies you'll need to get started. Cleaning solution, cotton rounds, a fine microfiber cloth, gloves, and I like using these eyeglass cleaning cloths. This cleaning method is meant for chrome or optic cards only. The idea here is we want to remove any fingerprints or surface contaminants that may be on the card, so we're going to wipe it down. Cleaning solution isn't necessary here. You can just use one of these fine wiping cloths and get 90% of the stuff off. I'm going to wipe down the entire card here. I want to avoid the autograph in any areas like this patch here, as you may pick up lint on it and kind of mess it up. So you want to stick to kind of the general areas of the card, but wipe down the whole thing. Apply medium pressure, kind of wiping down the entire surface area of the card and making sure you've got all the dust and fingerprints off of it. You're going to look at the card a few times throughout this process just to make sure you've got everything off of it. There's multiple brands that makes cleaning solution, and I'm not going to recommend one over the other, but they all are about the same. So you apply your card cleaning solution to a cotton round. You never spray it directly onto the card. Once it's on the cotton round, you carefully apply it to the cards. We want to avoid the autographs or the memorabilia sections. Apply medium pressure. And then I take my fine microfiber cloth, carefully wiping down the areas that I applied the solution to. You want to pay extra attention to areas like this where they have the die cuts of the card overhanging on the memorabilia. Don't catch those with your rag because you may damage those. Once you've got your card wiped down, you may need an extra round with your lens cleaning cloth. What happens sometimes with these, it'll leave behind fine microfibers that will also affect your grade potentially. Throughout the process, you're going to evaluate the card many more times to make sure you got all those fingerprints and dust off of it. And then you do the same thing on the back. All right, so this card looks pretty good. After you went through all the work of cleaning your card, let's stick it in a brand new clean sleeve. A lot of people will use their old sleeves, and there's no reason to reintroduce those contaminants onto the card. On a thick card like this, you're good to send them in a top loader, but make sure you put your card in a team bag before you ship it. You prep standard cards the same way, but here's how you package them up to ship them. When shipping standard cards, you always want to use a semi-rigid. That's what the grading company calls for. So it's very simple. You just stick your card in the semi-rigid, centering it in the case. I'm going to send off this HAN, stick around and see what grade it gets. In the meantime, like and subscribe, comment down below if you've got any questions, and we'll do our best to help you out. All right, now here's a big reveal. It got a 9. Now, a lot of people could be disappointed with that, and it's a thick card, so you kind of expect the unexpected with these. Even if we did a good job prepping the surface, there could be just a small error. Maybe there's something wrong with these die cuts. It's really hard to tell once it's in the slab. The idea is to make them better. You can't always make them perfect. So at the end of the day, I'm happy with a 9 on a thick card like this.